of the most common places where I hid was on nights out with my friends. I started drinking. I had a bad relationship with alcohol throughout my teenage years. And when we first started going out drinking in the bars and the clubs, I would see all my friends having the time of their lives. And on nights out when we were young, it was all about how many people you can pull, how many people you can sleep with. And I just found those social interactions just exhausting anyway. I found it a challenge to get dressed up, be the best, most attractive version of myself to go into a club. I already found that exhausting. And then when I was observing my friends, and then when I was still struggling to find that acceptance, I would feel everybody staring at me. Or I did have drunk people say negative things, or I would try and talk to a girl and the girl would be rescued by another girl, or you don't want to be with him kind of thing, or I'm saving you. I just found it humiliating and it just became too much. So when I would always go to the toilet and I'd go into the cubicle and I'd close the door and I would just breathe, and I'm like, why am I putting myself in this situation week on, week out? Why? And then there was just this part of me where every night when I was out with my friends, there were these moments where I would just have fun, but they were just so far and few between. Yeah, I hid to feel safe. I hid to escape what was going on in my head. That's the time when I hid the most. I still get nervous, but I will always relax my shoulders. I will smile, I will hold my head high, I will interact with people, I'll say, hey, how you doing? I'll dress in my own style. I'll enjoy the drink that I'm drinking. I'll enjoy the music that I'm hearing. I just try and navigate the moment. And yes, I will still go to the toilet just for a little bit of a breather, a little bit of a break. And then I'll go back out again, and I'm able to manage that so much more freely, and I'm able to enjoy it more. And I love nights out, especially with my friends. So yeah, there's definitely a big shift in that feeling, and I definitely don't feel I need to hide. I think what I do now is I just big myself up a little bit and kind of refuel every now and again. For me, growing up, I looked everywhere for people with facial differences. Through music, through TV, magazines, you name it, I looked for it. And I couldn't find it. If I did see it, it might have been when I went to the hospital and there were these little leaflets and there was this sad, or there was this procedure, or there was this sad story for donations. And then every now and again I would see, I don't know, the latest movie, and there would be somebody with a facial difference, and he'd be the villain, or he'd be the bad guy, or he'd be the loser. And I could never find a positive role model with a facial difference. I could never find a champion or a hero or a sports star or somebody in the music. I just didn't see that. I didn't see that in my community. I didn't see that anywhere. Going forward, we do see a little bit more of that, especially on social media. We see people with facial difference just doing their thing, celebrating life, and that's amazing to see. But there are steps beyond that. It needs to go to the big screen. And again, these people with facial differences, they don't want these roles out of pity. But if somebody has got talent, it just needs to be showcased. There needs to be a better balance of what people with facial differences can't do. So on the big screens, if Somebody with a facial difference is a good dancer. They should be able to be shown as a good dancer. If somebody's a good actor, give them the chance to act. If somebody has got a talent for music, let them showcase those talents. We need to stay away from this outdated, it's got a facial difference, let's give them the villain role. That's crap. Let's showcase what they're really good at. And people with facial differences all over the world have got so many skills, so many talents, and that needs to be represented so much more. If somebody with a facial difference sees somebody else on the big screen doing their thing, that gives them hope. It gives them hope that they can do the things that they enjoy. And that is life-changing. It's so empowering, and we need more of it. But then also, when people start to see people with facial differences being the hero, being the coolest kid in school, because there are people all over the world with facial differences who are the coolest kid in school, who are the school football captain, who are the best dancer in class. They take the lead in, a pantomime or a play, whatever doing. When we start to see that on the big screen, the general public will just like, oh yeah, it just becomes normal. And normal is so huge. This is just the norm. Equal opportunity, equal rights. There needs to be more of it. When I was growing up, I idolised the Backstreet Boys, or every boy band in fact. I idolised them because they had girls and they were cool and they had the dance moves, and I wanted to be styled and I wanted to be presented like that. Later on it became David Beckham. When David Beckham became a success with his Brill cream, I craved that look in hope that I would be more attractive or I would be more accepted. So for me, that meant going to the hairdressers. And that was one of the hardest things that I had to do as a teenager. My mum would always like, Jonathan, your hair's getting too long. And it was just this thick mop. Like, you need to go to the hairdressers. And I'm like, oh, Mum, no, I'm just letting it grow. And she's like, we used to have these daily fights. Jonathan, you need to go to your hairdressers. And I found it so humiliating because I felt people were watching me whilst I was looking at my face, a face that I once hated more than anything else, just trying to get by, trying to get through that, and I hated it. And I would build myself up, I would prep for it, I would try and go at a quieter time. My mum would give me my money and I'd go to the hairdressers and I'd walk by a couple of times. Oh, it's too busy. So I would just hang out in the street, trying to wait until it got quieter, and it kind of never did. It was just busy, one in, one out kind of thing. So I eventually went into the hairdressers. I sit on the chair and she's like, oh, what do you want? And I'm like, oh, I want my curtains, please. And she's like, yeah, that's fine. And she's trying to get a little bit of indicator of the length and the style. And I'm just like, I want curtains, not giving much information, just trying to get through it as quick as I could. And she's like, okay. And then she'd put the towel over me, take my hearing aid out, and I'd be holding that, and I'd have my £5 in my other hand, and she's cutting my hair, and I'd just feel all these eyes on me. My palms would be sweaty. I always remember my palms being sweaty, and I'm like worried about the fiver being all damp and wet for it, sort of thing. And then she'd be like, right, I've finished. And she'd get the little mirror out and she'd like, how's it look? And I'd look at it and quickly look away, and I'd see it, but I wouldn't really see anything. I just kind of glanced, I kind of did the action rather than see. And I was like, oh yeah, that's fine, thank you. She'd dust me off, take it off, and I'd chuck her the £5 and like, thank you, bye. I didn't even put my hearing aid in. I just wanted to get out of the hairdressers without seeing my face. In my bedroom, alone in my bedroom, that was the moment I would then look at my hair. And every time I looked at my hair, I didn't like it. Not because of the haircut, because I didn't like the whole package of what I saw. And it's a stupid frigging haircut. it's something that people do on the daily, just so casually and so freely. But when I was struggling with my face, the hairdressers was the hardest place for me to visit, and I hated it. Me trying to problem solve that and overcome that, my answer was, I spent years and years afterwards just cutting my own hair in the bathroom, giving myself this lopsided, dodgy bowl cut, and didn't do myself any favours. And it's funny because now as an adult, I love having my hair cut. I love the whole having my hair washed and massaged and having a natter with my hairdresser, who I absolutely love to pieces. But every now and again, when she gets that mirror out and she's like, how does it look? There's that little bit of nerves and a little bit of sweat under the armpit, and I'm like, oh my God, it's okay. It's okay. And to be able to reach that point of being able to enjoy the hairdressers has been massive for me. That's my Everest that I've had to climb, and thankfully I've been able to climb it and stick my little flag in there of this is me, and yeah, very proud of that. It's freedom. It's freedom just to be able to step out of the door on a morning and say, hey, world, this is me. And that's for people with facial difference, everybody out there, beyond the facial difference, I hope and pray that people reach that point, because it just allows you to see so much beauty in this world, and I wish that for everybody. We all have our own unique stamps on our faces, on our bodies, on our beings, on our personalities, and they need to be celebrated. And when you start to celebrate them and you start to show them to people all over the world, people are attracted to that because it's real and it's authentic. And then all of a sudden you'll find yourself making connections with so many amazing, beautiful people too. And so yeah, celebrate your unique stamp, wherever it is, internally, externally. Yeah, that makes you you, and people will love you. But most importantly, you will love that about yourself too. The hairdressers was part of my community, and I was petrified to participate in that activity. So it's definitely a challenge for myself, but for many of us as well, just being able to do that. But secondly, the communities around us, it needs to be full of people that are open and are welcoming and are understanding. And then a community that has people that are able to just step out of their house and be their authentic self. And then people in the community that are welcoming to these people who are their authentic self, just being welcoming. And greet people with a smile, hello, get to know their name, and just generate these day-to-day simple norms. You know, the little nod, good morning. That's so important for every single one of us, but for anybody with a little bit of a difference, with a facial difference or beyond, you know, that opens up a whole new world to them, right on their doorstep, and that's huge. When you step out of your door, be conscious of actually relaxing your shoulders. Take a deep breath and lift your head up. Put a smile on that face of yours and go. And yeah, that's a start. Definitely a big, big start in the right direction. So there are families all over the world that reach out to me and they have a newborn with a facial difference. And they'll send me a message and they will write, thank you. You have shown us that our son, our daughter can live a normal life. And they use the word normal. And that's just huge. And to be able to give somebody a whole new picture, and it's been a positive picture, is, yeah, that's just beautiful, a beautiful thing to receive. So being born with a facial difference gave me a starting point. That was the start of my life. And the work that I've done and the people around me and the love that I've received, the support that I've been given, the communities that I've grown up in, has all led to where I am today. And where I am today, I feel very blessed and very lucky to be. But I know a lot of people don't get here. And that's just heartbreaking. I absolutely love my face because it has added so much to my life. It's added more than it's ever taken away, 1,000,000%. And it's just and I've done a lot of work, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't change my face for anything, but just because it's just opened up so many doors, it's allowed me to make so many beautiful connections, feel so many beautiful emotions. So yeah, I truly love my face.